This is another school psychology video, and yes, hi my school psychology friends. Thank you for joining me once again as I talk about the field school psychology. And first off, before I start, let me just thank you guys for watching these videos, subscribing to my channel, and showing your interest in the school psychology field. So now that I got that out the way, so this is going to be like a little chit chat. You see I have my coffee here. It's going to be, I'm going to answer some questions from some of the previous videos that you guys had, as well as kind of do a recap of my week that I had this week. So it's going to be like a story time, chit chat with me, drink some coffee, sit back, relax. As you can tell, I'm in the comfort of my own home. I have my coffee. I want to call this like School Psychology Sundays. So I'm going to try to upload this video tonight. Hopefully I can. If not, I'm going to try to drop it tomorrow, but I'm going to call this School Psychology Sundays. So yeah, so let's get right into it. Let's see. So the first question, drum roll please. And I thought this was a really awesome question. Actually, it's Michaela Gill. She says, how is the work-life balance of this job? Do you feel like you are always working and doing work at home? What characteristics do you think someone has to be a successful school psychologist? Michaela Gill, these are really awesome questions. And you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Before I even went into this field, I did not ask any of these questions. And that's pretty bad to say. But no, I didn't ask any of these questions. Bethany, I need you to go back upstairs, please. I think this is awesome that you're thinking about these things prior to choosing a field that you're going in as a career. You know, so the work-life balance, okay. I really want to be transparent with you guys and upfront and honest about this field. Yes, it's truly a great field to work in. Is the stress there? Yes, it is. Work-life balance, I want to say it can really be like this. The job can be up here and the life can be down here, but you have to make that balance. You know what I mean? You have to make that balance. For instance, there is a lot of work that you have to bring home. Honestly, there's always work to bring home, always. And I think I can speak for the majority of school psychologists bring work home, but I'm sure there are some that don't. But for the most part, I think that I could, you know, honestly say that work will be taken home with you. Now, I do try to avoid that by scheduling my things out and blocking time. So I don't have to bring work, but it's inevitable that it's inevitable that you will at times have to bring work home. And the way I do that, I might stay, you know, a little bit later to finish things up, or just try to plan it out so I don't have to bring the work home. It's like, okay, I'm gonna work on this report all day so I don't have to bring this home to work on it, you know. But honestly, that's how it is. Okay, she says, what characteristics do you think someone has to be a successful school psychologist? Now, there are a ton of characteristics that I know that I can think of, other school psychs can think of. I just listed a few that I use in my day-to-day job that helps me be successful, you know, in the school setting. So, first and foremost, You have to be a people person. You cannot be a person who is standoffish, who is, I don't want to say introvert, but who is like shy and timid. You cannot be that type of person, because really when you're doing this job, sometimes you have to go against people that are on the IEP team to state your point as the school psychologist on maybe why you're qualifying a student or why you're not qualifying a student. So you can't be timid. You have to be really outspoken. And being a people person, that means you're dealing with people who have different personalities. And honestly, this year, yeah, it started off really well, but there have been some, you know, minor bumps in the road. But you have to really realize, you know, really take a seat back and say, hey, this is my job. I'm a professional. So yeah, being a people person, because you have to collaborate, you know, with the parents. You have to collaborate with the teacher. You have to talk to administration. You may even have to talk to, you know, case managers of those kids that like may be in the system, or their counselor. They're getting outside counseling service. So you have to be able to navigate and be able to be a people person where you can, you know, have a personality and be able to, you know, communicate effectively. So let's see. Another one. This kind of goes along with the timidness. You have to have tough skin. And why do I say that? Because people may call you out. Don't take it personal. You can't take it personal. That's why I say you have to have tough skin. You just have to look at, why are they calling me out? What is the reason behind them calling me out? And get to the root of it and address it at that point. Address the reason why they're, you know, in a professional way, you know, because so they might call you out for the decisions you made. Like I said before, you decide not to qualify a student because for whatever reason you found your assessment showed that their education isn't being impacted by whatever disability that you were looking at. You know, that their achievement is, you know, up to par, or whatever the reason is that you're disqualifying them, you're DNQing them. But you also have to stand your ground. If you feel a certain way, if you feel in 100%, like if you feel in your heart of hearts, whatever decision you made, stand by that decision. Do not waver. Now, if you have questions prior, you know, talk with people, with your colleagues, run it by them. I do that all the time. If I have a question, I have a person that I go to who is my colleague, also my friend. And if I have a question, I go to her and ask her, like, you know, this is my dilemma. This is what I'm working with. I need a second pair of eyes. Help me out. But once you make that decision and you go into that meeting, make sure you stand your ground. Don't let anybody change how you feel, because you are the professional. You went to school for this, and this is your area of expertise. Now, people might try to tell you, oh, they should qualify for X, Y, and Z. Okay, I'm sorry. Did you get a degree in school psychology? No, not really, but really. So make sure that everything that you do, if you make that having tough skin, just, you know, stand by the decisions you made if they call you out, and just make sure that every decision that you make is legally defensible. So I always say, go back to that. Whatever decision you make, can you defend that decision if you were to ever go to court, due process, whatever, mediation? Can you defend the decision you made? And that's how I say. That's what I say. Another one is So the third one is being a lifelong learner. Okay, a lifelong learner. So I say this because you can never learn. I'm always learning, and I've been in this field for several years, and I'm still learning to this day. The years go by, you get better and better, you learn things, you learn from your mistakes. So I always say, be a lifelong learner. If you have the chance, become a member of your, either national or state school psychology association. I am a member of CASP, and I look at their resources often to stay abreast on, all of the new things that are coming into the school psychology field. So I would say continue to be a lifelong learner. I also went to the CASP convention in San Diego in November because you never can learn enough about your field. I'm always willing to take in new information and continue to learn, because that only makes me better in my job. So yeah, be a lifelong learner. Collaborate with your colleagues, like I mentioned before. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. Find you somebody that you feel that has a little bit more expertise in you, where you can go to them, somebody that's seasoned, and ask them questions, because like I said, you can never learn enough. So you know what, there are so many other ones that I have, but for the sake of time, I'm going to cut it right there. That was 3. I'm gonna add one more. Being culturally aware. So if you're working in a demographic that is different from your own, make sure that you're cognizant of your approach to people that are different from you. I don't want to say different, but are of different ethnicities from yourself. Make sure you're aware that you're culturally sensitive, being in that environment, because I say this because I've seen it with my own eyes, how culturally insensitive people can be when they work with a different demographic of people. And we're all in the help. This is a helping field, social services, whatever you want to call it. We're here to serve. That is our position. We're here to serve. So be mindful of your position and the things that you may want, that you can say that might offend someone else. That's one thing that I wish was touched upon a little bit more in my program, because or any program or any field, period, people should just be culturally sensitive. I don't even want to say a program. You just got to be aware, and some people really aren't aware of that. They really aren't, and it can be a touchy subject. It really can be. And sometimes you might have to pull that person aside and let them know, coming from a place of, love, coming from a place of concern, like, yeah, I don't think that was appropriate, or however you can approach it. Because I've seen, some things people have said that can be very offensive to people of other ethnicities, and I don't know if they were aware of it, but it was brought to their attention. So that's one thing I could say, is being culturally aware. Oh my God, there's a long list that I can go through, but those are just some of the things of being a good school psychologist. And it all goes back to the children, having compassion for them, and being a good school psychologist. One of those main things, keep that in focus. Keep that in your in your viewfinder, your viewpoint in front of you. This is for the children. This is my focus. Is the children are right here. That's my main focus. So if you keep that perspective of the children being your focus and everything else is, a branch, an extension of that, then you'll be fine. But yeah, those are some of my things. Oh my God, that was long. But okay. So we got one question down. Man, these questions take so much time, but I'm going to keep going and answering these questions on these videos. So don't be discouraged. Alrighty. So let's see. Now, you know what? So you guys, some of you really want to know what it's like, in the day, a day in the life of a school psychologist. You really want to know what goes into it, and I get it. So I'm going to give you we're going to do like a little story time on my week. So it's going to be like a week. It's going to be a week in review. Story time. Mondays, I am at my middle school. And so this Monday, I wasn't able to go to that school first. I actually went to one of my K-8 schools because we had to hold an initial IEP meeting for a student whose 60-day timeline was approaching. So my days there are not Mondays, but Wednesdays and Fridays, but I needed to make it to this meeting and hold it so that we would be in compliance with completing the assessment within a timely manner. Bravo, Brandy. So this meeting actually was an eventful meeting because there was a debate whether the student who was an 8th grade student should go into, and it was an initial. So this was an initial assessment whether the student would qualify under a disability. The student did qualify. Now the debate happened because we could not decide on whether the student should go into a special day class, a self-contained special day class, or remain in general ed with RSP support, which is Resource Specialist Program Support. So majority of their time will be in the general ed population, but they will have pull out services or push in services. So that was the debate. So this meeting lasted for, maybe a couple of hours, hour and a half. I want to say the meeting lasted. After, we went over the results, talked about goals, offer FAPE. The parent wanted the student to be in a special day class. And, there's the continuum of you want to start with the least restrictive environment. However, the student is in 8th grade and really, really struggling. Some of the team members were against it because we wanted to start with the least restrictive option. But we end up going with the special day class. So after that meeting, then I went back to my middle school. Once I got back to my middle school, I met with the RSP teacher where we scheduled approximately 10 IEPs for the month of March. So we got those on the calendar. Then I went and, worked on some of my report. Then Tuesday, the day at one of my other K-8 schools. So this day I took the time to send out assessment plans and the documents that I put along with the assessment plans for the parent to fill out. I also talked with some of the teachers and gave them paperwork to fill out for upcoming assessments. I did that, and then I went back to my office and started writing a report. So no testing on Monday or Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, so before I get to that, I was selected to participate in a file review. The California Department of Education actually came to our district, and they go to districts and, you know, pull files. I guess you would call it like an audit to make sure that you're in compliance. So guess what? Your girl was selected to participate in the file review. So that was supposed to be 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it started at 1 o'clock on Friday. So, I mean, sorry, it started at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. So I actually, Wednesday, what did I do? Actually, Wednesday I did some billing for some of the things that I've done a few weeks before. Did some billing, finished up some reports, uploaded some documents. So yeah, you guys want to know, yeah, I'm a secretary too. I'm a secretary too. So I uploaded a few docs, did some billing, finished up reports. No testing on Wednesday as well. So then I went over to our Office of Special Education, and we met up with California Department of Education, which they had representatives there. And, you know, we did introductions, and basically we start working on files. They had a huge packet about this thick that we had to go through. So I had a file of a student, and I had to go through the entire IEP. Mine was an annual. If it was a triennial, it would have been even longer, but mine was an annual. So I had to check off if these items were compliant or non-compliant or non-applicable. And I worked with one of the CDE representatives, and she kind of walked me through the first one. So then I had to show up on, and that went until about 4 o'clock. I went back Thursday morning, and so I still was working with one of the CDE representatives on doing some file reviews, just in case I needed assistance. But yeah, so that was an all-day thing on Thursday. And actually I learned, you know, I don't, you know, write the IEPs. The special education teacher writes the IEPs. So it gave me an opportunity to really look in depth at all the things that have to be done within an IEP. Wow, there's so many checklists that you have to go through. And it gave me some really good insight that I actually can take back to my schools to, you know, make sure that we're compliant. So that was, and since I finished the files that I was supposed to work on Thursday, I was supposed to go Friday. However, I finished early, so I didn't have to go Friday. Good job. Now, Friday, I did not go to work. I actually took a mental health day, which my friend / colleague says, you know, calls it a mental health day. Because I really needed it. I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Actually, I ended up getting some private school assessments on top of assessments that I already have. So if you guys don't know about private school assessments, so if a student is a resident in the city that you work in, your district is responsible for doing the assessment. So even though that student does not go to our district, but they live within the district, their private school utilizes our resources to, you know, get this student assessed. So they utilize our special education resources to get their students assessed. They get the money for that student, but they use our resources. So I end up getting 3 private school assessments this week. And, you know, I'm gonna be real honest, I was, you know, I'm like 3 more on top of all the ones I have. I have like a huge list in my office of all the kids that I, you know, have to do. So I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed because, you know, taking a look at my calendar, like I'm looking at my March calendar, and, you know, I'm at this CDE file review. That's taking up more time that I could be doing other things. But you know what? I'm not even going to complain about that, because actually I enjoyed it because I learned a lot. So I'm glad for the experience and working with, you know, the California Department of Education, and to see exactly, you know, what they do and what they look for. So that was actually a good experience. But I needed a mental health day. And, you know, I was kind of venting to my colleague, slash friend. And she was like, you know what? You need to take some time for you where you just do nothing. And, you know, I know that, but it's like, I don't have time to take off because there's so much that needs to be done. But I have to realize, like, stress is not good. And stress can take you up out of here. And I'm trying to be here. So that work will be there when I get back. You know, so I took off on Friday. And when I say I took the kids to school, my husband was at work. I came back home, put my feet up, and watched my favorite shows. I caught up on some of my favorite shows, and I just chilled. I slept. And you know, I was getting text messages from coworkers, had emails coming through my phone, and I'm like, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna answer any emails, but I end up answering some emails. I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and answer this real quick. And I answered the text messages like, you know what? I'm out today. I'll get to that on Monday. But I could have just ignored it. But other than that, I answered a few text messages. I answered a few emails. But other than that, I didn't do nothing. Ate some ice cream. What did I eat? Had some brownies. You know, I just really enjoyed my day off. Whew. But okay, so that is a week in review. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm gonna try to get them out on Sundays. Pray for me, you guys. I'm trying to make it happen. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.